and welcome to another video update from the Fire Brigades Union here in the Union's head office in Kingston. We're joined by the Union's General Secretary Matt Wrack to discuss the work streams that have been working on through the National Joint Council. Matt, you've been discussing broadening the role of the firefighters for over 2 years now through the National Joint Council. It's been a while since we've had the last update. Have you got a further update for us?
Yeah, Tom, I think it's first of all important to remember there's 5 work streams, and this was a discussion with our employers about what work the fire service is doing and what work the fire service might do in the future. None of it's resolved, but we are aware that the role of firefighters has already changed in lots of areas. We've got very technical areas of rope rescue, line rescue, water rescue and so on, which weren't there maybe 15 years ago or so. So we wanted to look at that. We also wanted to look at new risks that are emerging, so the growing flooding risk, other climate change impacts, and other issues which either side would want to bring to the table. So it's a broad discussion on where our service is and where it might be in 10, 15 years' time.
Well, one of those work streams is, of course, emergency medical response. And a number of our members and brigades across the UK are, of course, carrying out trials into emergency medical response. You recently sent out an independent report commissioned by the NJC with a lofty title of Consideration of the Potential to Broaden the Role of Uniformed Fire Service Employees. What were the findings of that report?
Yeah, Tom, I think firstly, this is an independent report. It's not our report. It's not the employer's report. It was commissioned jointly by us and the employers to look at those trials and what the evidence produced by those trials found. And it's quite detailed. It does say that there is a strong argument that firefighters may be able to make early interventions in certain clinical conditions, primarily about cardiac arrests, heart attacks, may be able to save lives, and it's quite a powerful message. However, it also flagged up a whole host of problems with those trials, which have also been confirmed by our members directly to us, and that's about issues like training, mobilisation, policies, equipment, and other operational and health and safety issues. They flagged those up. Also issues around data sharing between the ambulance service and the fire and rescue service, so which affected the type of calls people were going to and how they were dealing with those calls. So some positive stuff in it and some issues that would need to be addressed if we were going to do that sort of work.
And of course, shortly after that report was published, you took the highly unusual step of recalling the union's conference. What was discussed there?
Well, the conference is, the ultimate decision-making body for day-to-day business within the union. There's a debate, and I think the important point is this is a discussion, a debate about what's the best way forward for our union in what are very difficult times with attacks on public services. So we wanted to do report on the University of Hertfordshire report, get feedback directly from members on the ground. And I think something that struck us very starkly at that conference was there were some very positive reports of those EMR trials and some very good practice where fire services had listened to our members, and there were some absolutely terrible stories that people had reported where fire services had not listened to our members and had not discussed with Fire Brigades Union officials through the course of those trials. And it was very stark, that difference between the two methods of approach. And so the conference was convened to discuss what we do next in the aftermath of that report.
Okay, well, put forward to the conference was a potential extension of the trials until November. But of course, tied to all this is the issue of pay. A word on that.
Yeah, and I think the resolution has to be taken in the context of that debate. And we met the employers the very next day, and we set out to conference very clearly some red lines, and they partly came out of the debate. That the fact that some employers have clearly been ignoring the concerns of our members. And we said, firstly, there needs to be an immediate establishment of what we called oversight committees, actually to look jointly at these trials if they're going to continue. There needs to be an immediate steps towards inoculation policies, immediate steps towards policies on mental health and welfare, the ability of individuals who are experiencing problems with attending that type of call to withdraw from it. that exists in some places, it clearly appears not to have existed elsewhere, and immediate measures to address the fact that data hasn't been shared between ambulance trusts and between ambulance services and the fire service. So a number of clear red lines. We put those to the employers, and we've said very clearly to the employers, actually, there is no guarantee that this trials are going to continue at all, because there's two sides of it. One is the operational health and safety concerns, and the other one, of course, is the big issue of pay and conditions. These discussions started on the question of pay and conditions. Our pay settlement date is the 1st of July. People will be watching that very closely. So what happens next is we have a conference again in May. We will be monitoring whether the employers have made any progress on these issues at all by the time we get to our conference in May. That's point one. And I think the second one is what will happen in July in relation to pay. So I think our members will be monitoring all of those issues, both the people involved in the trials and the people not involved in the trials, as to whether we make progress on a genuine dialogue on health and safety and operational matters, but also what is going to happen on pay. We're aware that our pay has fallen behind because of the government's pay freeze. Real wages have fallen. People are increasingly struggling. That's not acceptable. And just to be clear, it's not acceptable. We've said this very clearly to the employers. We will not be signing up to extending our role, to changing our members' contracts without the issue of pay being addressed. So the next couple of months are absolutely crucial on this.
Matt, thanks very much. Well, it's a very clear message for firefighters and indeed to employers from the Union's General Secretary. For further updates on this and indeed every other issue we're dealing with, please go to our website. That's www.fbu.org.uk. Or for more immediate updates, you can follow us on Twitter, and that's simply @FBU National. Until next time, thanks very much, Matt.